Welcome to The Tea with Martha, where we spill the tea on the untold truths and real struggles of entrepreneurship. I'm Martha Pachow, a fellow business owner who's learned the ins and outs of business the hard way. Get ready for unfiltered discussions on the highs, lows, and messy realities of entrepreneurship. It's time to spill the tea and vent it out with us. Well, hello, my friend.
Hi, I'm so excited to be here.
Oh my goodness, I'm more excited. You guys, my friend Kelly is not only a friend, but she's such a powerhouse that I'm just so excited that I get to share a little sliver of her amazingness. So Kelly is a friend of mine. We connected, a few years ago now. And we connected through a women's network here locally. And then we started kind of a girls' dinner club. And we've just kind of been in each other's lives and through different circles and through all our iterations of ourselves and our businesses and our careers and all of that jazz. And she is the founder of Kayla Gray, my favorite candle and scent company. I mean, I have all her stuff throughout my house. But enough about me talking about my beautiful friend, Kelly. Welcome to the show. And yeah, take it away.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me. It's so crazy to think about, like, literally what you just said, the iterations of ourselves over the last, I think I've known you 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years. And I was working still at my old corporate job when we first started hanging out. So it's crazy to see the evolution of both of us through all these years. And it's so cool to have friends like you that support and encourage along the way. So I'm happy to be here. I'm excited to be here.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I know you're super busy. And so this is extra special for me. Well, one, I get to see your beautiful face, and then I get to share you with my people. So here we go.
I love that.
So Kelly, tell us a little bit of your story in terms of, you just kind of touched on, you left your corporate job. Tell us about maybe a little bit of that corporate career, because you were very successful there, and then making the big leap of faith and going all in your dream and kind of where that's taken you.
Yeah, I can give you a little bit of my background. So I was born and raised in Wisconsin, definitely a Packer girl. Always spent time in nature. My first job ever was in retail. I've been in corporate retail for over 23 years now. And my first job was actually an assistant buyer of women's fragrances for a subsidiary of Saks Fifth Avenue. And I completely fell in love with the way that fragrances made memories tangible. And so I always just knew that was going to be some sort of a thread throughout my life, but never really knew exactly what that meant. And stayed in corporate retail, worked my way up the corporate ladder, decided to move to Arizona in 2010, started working for PetSmart headquarters. At the time, I was, an inventory manager, managing inventory teams, and worked my way up there. My last job was actually a senior director of sourcing and procurement for PetSmart. I helped stand up the domestic sourcing division for the company and was responsible for managing $2 billion of business for them.
But what were you responsible for? Can we just scroll that back a minute, you guys?
Just $2 billion, no big deal. Just a few bills.
Not million with an M. $2 billion. She was responsible for managing $2 billion purchasing. Thank you.
It's a small portfolio, but yes, I am very proud of that portion of my life for sure. But I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, but it's so hard just to walk away from the corporate steady paychecks and, the bonuses and the promotions and the accolades and health insurance, all the different things that I thought at the time were super important to me because, it was all feeding my ego. I was getting the bumps and promotion, getting more money. And it wasn't until my husband and I met my husband in 2014, got married in 2016. And it wasn't until we started to try for babies. I got pregnant in 2017 and actually suffered from a ruptured ectopic pregnancy and almost lost my life. And then it happened again in 2018. And it was really after those 2 moments that everything just kind of stopped and slowed down for me. And I started to kind of wake up and realize that life is so short. It's not guaranteed. I need to go after my dreams and do something I'm completely obsessed about. And during the time that I was pregnant, I remember my doctor telling me that I probably shouldn't be using fragrances because those companies aren't required to disclose the ingredients in their products, and we just don't know whether or not they're toxic for you when you're pregnant. And so I remember just being so upset about it and so surprised by it because pregnancy, like I said, was such a huge part of my identity. And so the little idea of Kayla Gray was sparked in my head that I wanted to create a transparent ingredient fragrance company because I couldn't find scents that I was obsessed with that I felt comfortable wearing. And so, started working at Kayla Gray in 2019, named the company Kayla Gray because that was going to be the name of our first baby as a way to, honor the heartbreak, but put beautiful things out into the world. And I think I met you around that time, 2019-ish. We launched on Black Friday of 2020 and we've been scaling ever since. So it's a little bit of my background and why I just had to make the shift. You realize when you go through something as scary as that, like to me, freedom and time was much more important than the money and the accolades that I was getting. I'm still incredibly ambitious and have all these huge goals that I want to accomplish, but there's more balance, I would say now than I've ever had before.
Yeah. Well, thank you for getting, kind of really vulnerable there because I think like those stories are so powerful, right? Where we can be maybe in the high of our life and just kind of going through all those motions of what we might think at one point is success. And it's not that it wasn't success, but, life experiences sometimes humble us and really put so many things in perspective. And what a powerful story. And thinking back at your foundation, right? Like your retail experience, the set experience, and then how you tied that in with what your doctor told you and making such an impact because we are surrounded by so many things that really are so detrimental to our health, to our hormones. And who doesn't like a beautiful smelling scent? And it just makes you feel good, when you, my favorite, I should have brought my scent because it's in my bathroom. But my favorite scent, which by the way, it was a bottle like this, and now it's like down to a sliver, but it's self-made. It's my favorite scent. And I mean, I love the name, but it's really just the scent. And of course, like self-made. And she names her products. They just all have like this amazing meaning and empowerment and then they're clean. And so I just honor you for that because I think that the work you're doing is so much more meaningful than the beautiful content you put out. It's just so good. But so tell me a little bit of kind of where you're at and maybe what are some of those just surprises you've discovered along the way as you've built Kayla Gray. You've found some successes, and I know because you're Kelly, you're going to continue to grow and really expand yourself. I think that's also part of the fun in being an entrepreneur. But yeah, tell us of some of those surprises as you've grown and maybe your learning experiences, let's say.
Yeah, I think, one thing that was really interesting was shifting from a corporate background where you've got hundreds of people supporting you. You've got, a 1,200 person team in different divisions within the company. And then you shift into entrepreneurship and it's like, holy cow, you have to literally learn and understand every nuance and every tiny little piece of your business as you're starting to scale in order to hire properly or pass those things off, to contractors or, other businesses that are going to help you get to where you want your company to be. And I think that was a huge learning curve for me is that, going from a place where I was an expert leading teams and, pretty large portfolios of business to now being a newbie. I remember
there's nobody to call.
There's nobody to call. And so, Google University was like my best friend for like the first few years. I mean, let's be real, it still is my best friend. That next day is like, there's so much. Yeah, there's so much I still don't know. But I think the beauty of that is that I learned so much, not only about myself, but like all of the little pieces within my company. Like I can fully say I know everything that was put into this company to build this beautiful company to where it is today. And I think that's so cool and so special.
So cool.
Another thing that was a big shift for me was like the money mindset thing. So, I was the breadwinner in our house and, preparing for me to lose our salary was a big deal. And so, my husband and I sat down and tried to figure out like, okay, we're going from a place where we don't have to worry too much about what we're spending. We get great bonuses, and we were both working full time. So we're both bringing paychecks, and to then go from a place where like I actually didn't know when I was going to be able to pay myself. Like every single penny that I made within Kayla Gray was invested back in the business because we needed to scale. And so it was years before I actually paid myself at all within Kayla Gray. And so really shifting from like, it was almost like an abundant mindset when it comes to finances to a scarcity mindset. It really changes the way that you make decisions, the way you make, you spend money, the way you just move through life. And so that was something that I even went to therapy about, just to sit down and really talk through, like, I just need to like get myself in the right mindset to make sure that I am operating, at the best level that I can operate for both my home life and my business. So I think those were the two biggest mindset shifts, with like, okay, being an expert, going to then being a novice, and then also having, not worrying too much about money, to literally every single day pulling up my bank accounts and being like, okay, what can I and can't I spend today? Because I'm trying to build my dream business and make it happen. It's been a wild ride, which is entrepreneurship in a nutshell, but yeah, a lot of learnings, I would say.
Oh my gosh, this is so good, guys. I mean, can we talk a little bit more about that? Because I think that there's this notion, right? There's socials and all the empowerment conferences that we go to, and which is all great. They have its place. But I think the whole point of this show is to talk about this stuff, the hard stuff that really no one wants to post, right? Like, I don't know if I have money. I mean, I've had many a times where I have thought, can I cover payroll, right? Let alone pay myself. I just need to pay my employees. And so I think the money thing is, I mean, that's why we get in business. That's why we go out of business. And so figuring out this money, how do we do it? How do you go from making multiple six figures and bonuses? So, I mean, like, guys, that's really hard to walk away from, and to saying, okay, yes, you're going to make the choice, but you took a minute, you prepared, you discussed. And I think those are the keys to, that's the true definition of entrepreneurship. What do I have to sacrifice? What do I have to say no to for my best yes? And it might not be tomorrow. It might not be in a few months. It literally might be in a few years, if you're lucky, right?
If you're lucky. Yeah.
If you're lucky. And so you talked about going to therapy and discussing this. What would you say in that process? Like, what helped you pull the trigger, and how did you say, I'm going to do this? And, how did your therapist guide you? Can we talk a little bit more about that? I think it's so good.
Yeah, really, it was interesting. I went to a couple different modalities of therapy, and I think the one that was really the most powerful for me is I went to this woman who did therapy when it comes to like feeling how your body is responding to people, situations, and decisions that you're going to make. It literally blew my mind. I've been in therapy since I was 18. And I'm in my 40s now. And this literally just over the last few years has completely changed my life. And she was, just like, I want you to literally write down like how you're feeling about a situation, how you're feeling about a relationship, how you're feeling about a strategy decision that you're going to make. It's almost like imagining the two different choices that you are having to make, like the two different scenarios, or whether you're going to spend this money here or not, or spend this money here, like actually writing down the scenario and then like physically feeling how your body is responding to yourself, putting yourself in that scenario. And one thing that, I've known my entire life is that, I am one of those people where my gut feeling is never, ever, ever wrong. Like it's never been wrong. And still to this day blows my mind. And so this exercise really helped me like focus and tune in on my gut feelings and started to move and activate the gut feeling a little bit more and making decisions from my body versus my emotions or my, scarcity mindset was something that it blew my mind. It helped me figure out in my 40s whether or not I wanted to continue to figure out if I wanted to keep trying to have babies or, figure out if I wanted to invest in bringing investors into my company, or if I wanted to, invest big in doing a huge rebrand or spend time with certain people that made me physically not feel that great about myself. And so really honing in on like learning how to listen to your body and your gut feeling for me was a massive mindset shift when it came to money. I started being comfortable with the uncomfortable, which is, for me, I'm a type A Enneagram 3. Like, I'm a controlling lady. I love control. And so it's very hard to be comfortable with the uncomfortable, but I'm doing it. And the times that I feel confident in taking a risk, they're paying off because I'm starting to listen to the way that my body is responding to situations. It's been really interesting and fascinating.
So good. Oh my gosh, Kelly. Like, I just love this because I talk about this all the time. Our intuition is such an on point gauge of, of what we should do. And really that's our biggest kind of indicator. And it's the one thing, I personally have learned, and I'm still really trying to strengthen that muscle. But for so long, I think we're taught, we kind of connect our mind to our intuition and we try to figure things out and make sense of what our gut is telling us. And then when we listen to this, and I more often than not have messed up when I want to make reason and not follow my intuition. And like to your point, you said my intuition has never been wrong. And why don't we talk about this more, right? Like, why do we not focus on that inner voice that's telling us? And what a beautiful thing that you have this therapist that can really bring that out in you and how it presents itself in our bodies. And because we are such emotional beings that we have to learn what, like, where do we draw the line in the sand of saying, like, this is my emotion and how do we work our way to success? And I think this truly is where the power lies. If we have the answer, we create our own problems. We also have the answers. Isn't it amazing? Like, I just love this. So what would you say when you look back at, all this journey? What has been maybe your biggest win and maybe your biggest regret?
My biggest win, it was interesting. I had a relaunch party last February, and it was the first 2 years in the business. I was just trying to figure everything out, figure out what I'm doing, figure out like who my key audience is, figure out my messaging, figuring out. I understand the operations side of things, so that was all set up and working well. It was really figuring out the marketing piece of things and what Kale Gray is, what we stand for, who our customers are. And finally came to a point where, like, I was ready to almost like re-release the brand in a way and do like a full rebrand. And through this huge party, it was like a beautiful party in this, like an art gallery of scent, through this huge party. And I remember standing up and giving like a speech to everybody that was there. And there was a moment where somebody took a picture of me and I saw the flash like in the back of the room. And I stood for a moment and just looked around the room and noticed that there were hundreds of people in this building, like there for me, for a company that didn't exist 2 years ago, that I started from scratch. And I built this beautiful community around me and this company because of something I created as a way to deal from some heartbreak. And it was such a profound moment for me that we as humans are so capable of starting and building anything if we really are consistent and just start putting one foot in front of the other. And I think so that was the biggest one I've had so far, was just almost being in that moment and realizing, holy cow, like, look at what I created and how beautiful it is. So that was probably my biggest win. I would say
from ashes.
Beauty from ashes. And like the support that was around me was like so pure and genuine. And, sometimes when you come from corporate America, it's cutthroat, and I love competition. So I thrived a little bit in the competition part of it, but like, I didn't know that you could actually have both. You could have a competitive environment and be searching for these huge goals, but also have this really beautiful community that's supporting you along the way. So that's probably my biggest win moment of like, holy cow, this is really special. And then I would say biggest regret, this is kind of like a theme throughout my life, is just, and it's something that I've really been focusing on over the last few years after my ectopic pregnancies, was that so often we have like this end goal in mind. We have a goal in mind that we want to hit and we want to achieve, whatever it is, whether it's personal or professional. And I found myself back in the day trying so hard to achieve that goal. I would achieve the goal and then I would just move on to the next goal. And I wasn't really realizing that the days that you're taking to achieve that goal are what's really important. Like being happy in the moment, being happy in the days, being happy in the work that you're doing to achieve those goals. And so my regret, I would say, is it's just that. It's like moving through my days almost like a Groundhog Day thing. Like you're just moving through your days until you achieve that goal. And then you're like, heck yeah, let's celebrate. And now we're on to the next goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Instead of like actually being excited about the work that you're doing to achieve the goal, or realizing the learnings that you're getting and achieving and creating when you get to the, as you're moving through getting to that goal. So I would say that's something that is just a continuation of work for me to make sure that I don't look back on my life with regret.
So good. So good. You are such a gem. I just love your story. I love your heart. I love really what you stand for. I think, when you travel with friends, you get to know each other, and we've had some fun times. And when I think back, I'm like, the thing about Kelly is she just stands in her own truth. You stand and you're just like, I'm gonna take a moment if I need to rest. I'm gonna take a moment if I need to, whatever that is. And I just love that. I love that about you. I love that you have taken such a fragile time, such a time that really could have gone the other way, and you decided to heal in a way that you really just flourished. And I know it's so hard, and we just kind of skimmed over that because, like I said, we could probably talk for hours. But really, healing takes time. Healing takes action, right? Like it's not just going to happen by default. Mm-hmm. It's so much work. Doing therapy and surrounding yourself with the things that really feed your soul, rather than going through emotions or maybe staying in positions because of money and saying like, how will I ever replace this? Or you create a lifestyle, you get used to certain things when you make money, because we make money, we spend money. And often we tie ourselves to that identity. And so I just really want to honor you, because you are not only a powerhouse, but I'm so impressed by that resilience that you have. And you've really picked yourself up and done the hard work. And it's no surprise. And I know it's Kayla Gray and any other projects that you put your mind to will continue to flourish and really impact other people, because that's, at the end of the day, our pain is someone else's hope, right? When we talk about, that's why I really wanted to do this, because I have such amazing friends in my life that I just think there's so much power in stories. Other people's stories have helped me in my times, and sharing stories like yours, how many women we have pain of loss and so many other types of pain, but really I think the nitty-gritty is getting the help, getting in rooms with people that are going to embrace you and love you and speak life into you and remind you of how beautiful you are. Because not only are you beautiful outside, but you are so much more beautiful inside, and you make others feel beautiful as well. And your beautiful brand. It's just been such an honor to watch you, of course, to have you on the show. Any last thoughts on anything you'd like to share for our listeners? And then please let us know where they can find you.
So I would just reflect that back to you. I think women that start platforms like this to actually dive into the deep stuff, the deep work, the heart work behind all of the things that we're moving through on a day-to-day basis, just allows people, gives people permission to share their own stories. And I think the more that we have the opportunity to share stories with each other, the stronger we become as a collective. So thank you for having me on this beautiful podcast. And I can't wait to listen and hear what other beautiful women's stories that you get to share. And you can find me and my company at Kayla Gray Co. It's CAYLAGRAY Co. On Instagram. KaylaGray.com is our website. And then my handle is Kelly_Ward_Koosman on Instagram. So I'd love to see everybody. And hear what you think.
Thank you, Kelly. Love you. It's been so great.
I love you.
Thank you for joining me on another episode. If you enjoyed today's tea, make sure to follow, rate, and leave a review. Stay connected with us on social media at The Tea with Martha for updates and behind-the-scenes moments. Remember, every woman's story is a sip of inspiration. and together we're brewing success. This is Martha signing off. Cheers!